Hi, I wanted to talk about discerning of spirits. This is a gift of the Holy Spirit, and this is a gift I specifically asked for as I am going into the field of mind, uh, wanting to specialize as a hypnotherapist, as a psychologist, um, learning how to discern what's really going on behind what the person is a very important thing to know. And many times I have used my gift of discernment to help me help other people. So let me tell you about my recent gift of discernment of spirits experience. So my friend, her husband is a Freemason. At this time, he is the worshipful master of his lodge. I kind of thought that was interesting. I thought it was kind of sexy. I thought it was not nearly as bad as people would think it to be. I thought it was a lot of conspiracy theories. So, anyway, in discernment of spirits, there are several different types of spirits. One of the types of spirits is the Jezebel spirit. My friend is the Jezebel spirit. So let me tell you about the Jezebel spirit. Let's go back to the beginning, the story of Jezebel. Jezebel was nothing, and she seduced the king Ahab of Israel. Um, Ahab then gave everything to Jezebel, and he allowed her to take over in manners and things that she shouldn't have taken over. For example, she would send out letters to the kingdom and sign the king's name and take over their land. My friend, to a T, is this Jezebel spirit. She has nothing, and she's married a Mason who is the worshipful master, and he gives her everything and has absolutely ruined her for everyone. She literally thinks that people really open doors for women who have no education, and it's unbearable to be a friend of hers because the way he allows her to get away with so much. In the story of Jezebel and Ahab, God curses Ahab for letting Jezebel take over his, kingdom. This has really bothered me, and also in their particular relationship, my friend's relationship, the Freemason and his wife, um, she sleeps with other men, lots of other men, and he likes it. He allows it. He doesn't say a thing about it. And then he kind of likes it when she comes home and sleeps with him. But this is not a functional thing, and although they feel it's no big deal, they have kids in the house, and I feel that it just really bothers me. The whole thing bothers me. So I began to tell her what I thought, and I knew for sure that she wouldn't respond because the Jezebel spirit doesn't want to get rid of it. It gives her power. Hold on, let me turn off my stove. Okay. So she didn't want to do anything about it, and so I just, was caught up as being her sage. The Jezebel spirit always has a sage, and I am her sage. But as the story of Jezebel goes, the sages always get used up and become old and crone-like, and I'm just not going to put up with that. And I have seen where she has tried to claim my knowledge as her own or claim some type of ownership into my path that I take all day studying and researching and becoming in line with. And she does none of those things, but I do share with her a lot of the things I learned because she is one of my very good friends. We have a long time bond that happened when she was 12 and I was 13. We were at church, at a Baptist church, and we decided to skip church with some people. They asked if we wanted to skip church with them. And I didn't know her before this date. And we went on this joy ride and ended up at this house. And well, somehow or other, I went home and never thought about it again. But when my husband and her husband were best friends and met us and started dating us at the same exact time, when we were about 20, that was about 15 years ago, we looked into each other's eyes and we looked very like we knew each other, but we couldn't place where. about a year later, and I didn't like her. I didn't like her at all because this Jezebel spirit, and I'm more a quiet person who likes to read and be intellectual. And she really just rubbed me wrong all the time. But when I realized that we were together at this time when she was 12 and she was very tiny, she's only about 5 foot, and I was 13, so I was a year older, and I'm very tall. I'm about 5'8". So, and I have been since I was about 12, 13 years old. So I just wasn't the target, but she was. She was tiny. She was young. She's in her mid 30s. She still looks 12. Well, she got snatched and she got sold on the black market. She was confiscated in Orlando with a burlap sack. She said it was very traumatizing. I think this has some part to do with her Jezebel spirit. And that bonded us, that we had that trauma for her, but something that didn't traumatize me in common. I took this like wanting to care for her, and so I overlooked a lot of her really foul and ill-mannered behaviors. So I had discerned that she had the Jezebel spirit and that her husband had the Ahab spirit. And that was big for me because I've been in her trap for like 15 years. And I have broke away from her several times for a long period of time, but I really mourned our friendship because she sought me out because I was her sage, and I definitely am an introvert. And so this causes me to not really have a lot of close friends, but because she's the Jezebel spirit and she needs a sage, and I'm her sage, she sought me out and included me in many things. And this is very important to a person who is an introvert and just doesn't really have strong skills and strong socializing skills. So I discerned it. I was impressed with myself, and I was trying to pull back. And I had a dream that really spooked me. And this is where the fact that I mentioned that he's a Freemason comes in. I do know for sure that they do rituals and they say words in other languages, and their books are written in code. I know that for sure. I am a witness to that. I am a friend, a very close friend of a worshipful master of the Freemasons. However, he's not really free to talk about it, but from knowing his wife, I overhear, like her overhearing him in the bathroom reciting things in other languages. I'm suspecting Latin. And I've learned that things that are repeated, like rituals or words like Latin, that are very, very old and are repeated through centuries, through time, have increased power because they were said before. So although I can come up with an incantation of my very own, if it's an incantation that has been said and repeated for long periods of time by many men and many people, it strengthens its power. So I had this dream, and I was underneath their house. They have a crawl space underneath their house, and so this represented to me the dark and dirty places. And in the back, underneath their house, was a monster in a cage with a cover over it. And I believe this represents a demon or a negative entity. And the thing is that in the dream, I perceived that my friends, were feeding this monster people. Now, but I'm not saying this is a physical thing. I'm saying this is a spiritual thing, that there is an energy and they are likely unknowingly feeding that energy the people, all these men that she's sleeping with, and then he's sleeping with her, and then, but the most huge revelation was that I was one of the people that they were trying to feed to the monster. All of these revelations put me in a very low frequency, and that wasn't good. That was really not good. So I had to ease up on it and do a lot of meditations because I just went into a really bad depression in coming down to the reality of to being able to discern that my friend who's a Freemason has a demon who is attached to him and his wife and are sucking spiritual energy from people. And me being very highly spiritual, I'm one of the main culprits, but I don't sleep with them. I never have. I'm not interested in women. But and I think that's why we've maintained such a long-term friendship, because she does sleep with other women. She just has a wild sexual relationship and she's nothing special. Um, it's very peculiar to me. I don't understand that. To me, intimacy is very personal. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you my story of the Freemason demon that I discerned, um, and associated right along with the Jezebel and the Ahab spirit that are working in congruency. Now, my friend also has a deaf and dumb spirit, which just causes seizures, um, which only adds to the curse that's going to come down upon my friend who's a Freemason in the end, because he's allowing the deaf and dumb spirit and Jezebel to take over his kingdom, so to speak, and she does, and she has no place doing that. And I haven't spoke with him because I don't think he particularly cares to know either, nor can he confirm for me. But I have told him some things, and it doesn't seem to me that the Freemasons are teaching them particularly spiritual truths. It's more just a fraternity, but I do know for sure that they do rituals at the beach here in Jacksonville, and that he does rituals and chanting in other languages. Um, and I believe that that has power, regardless of whether he particularly has that power that he's putting behind that. But the words and the being recited for long periods of time before he spoke those words have energy, and it's cursing people, and it tried to curse me, but I broke that curse.